note down a few things. The first thing, kindly join your audio. So that option is there in your left side. You could see a headset kind of icon. Please click on it to join the audio. Otherwise, you will not be able to hear the session. And then many times your username is by default, it is a device name like Oppo, Samsung, that way. So we may not be identify your name and details. So kindly rename it. You could do that by just clicking on the participants menu, and you can see the first name as yours, and then just click on it, rename it to actually registered name. So kindly do these things before we start the session. Okay, so I think now we can start the session. Good afternoon, one and all. Welcome you all to the post-lunch session of our virtual meet on creating climate and culture of education through ICT. We know very well, use of ICT in education adds value to teaching and learning by enhancing the effectiveness of learning. After the inception of ICT in schools, students found learning in a technology enhanced environment is more stimulating and engaging than in a traditional classroom environment. All these we are talking for years, and we implemented few things like smart boards and all. And now during this lockdown period, we practically experienced how technology has become integral part of our education system. There are so many schools and colleges, they proved lockdown is for the building, not for the classrooms, by connecting with the students and continue serving. I know we are all eagerly waiting to explore more ways to lift our school to cyberspace. For sharing knowledge on the topic, we have with us Professor Sevaga Pandian. Sir is the coordinator of Department of Computer Science, Christu Jayanti College. Sir is having 20 years of experience in teaching. He strives for academic excellence and impart quality education with emphasis on computer science and application. He is a dedicated, resourceful, and innovative instructor, always focused on inculcating the habit of effective executing and implementation of understanding of the current technology. There are prominent MNCs like IBM, Oracle, Amazon, UiPath, VMware. All these companies are stepped into Christu Jayanti and rendering industry services to our students because of sincere efforts of our professor. When entire nation is talking about learning management system right now, Christu Jayanti College is equipped with LMS, a lot of training programs related to LMS under the leadership of our Professor Pandian. Sir, we feel proud and privileged to welcome you, and I kindly request you to address the gathering.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, madam. Thank you so much for this wonderful introduction. Hope you're able to see me. Yes. Right. So the topic for today afternoon, creating a climate and culture of education through ICT. Okay, so as madam pointed out, so today ICT and education or technology and education has to go on and on the path. Okay, so and during this pandemic situation, we were very much looking forward for the technological support to enhance or to support us in our teaching and learning. Okay, so let me the presentation is going to be like this. So first we are going to talk about the few things on 21st century learning competency, teacher-centered philosophy, paradigm shift, what happened, information communication technology, skills and competencies, and new trends, contemporary ICT resources. Okay, and I'm going to show you some kind of hands-on in LMS what we use in our campus. Okay, so let me move on to the slide. Okay, so the 21st century learning competency has three different types of competencies the teacher has to acquire or the educator has to acquire. The number one, you talk about the technology literacy. So the knowledge about what technology is, how it works, and what purposes it can serve and how it can be used efficiently and effectively to achieve specific goals. So this becomes a mandatory process for an educator or a teacher, to understand the knowledge about what technology is and how it works and what purpose it can serve for me or into my classroom, and how it can be used effectively or efficiently to achieve the specific goal what I'm setting to my classroom. And the second one, the teacher or the educator has to, acquire this competency is the visual literacy, the ability to interpret, use, appreciate, and create images and video using both the conventional and the 21st century media in ways that advance thinking, decision making, communication, and learning. This is totally, see, that's why we are saying it's an information communication technology. So visual literacy is also one of the most important components, in a 21st century learning competence. The ability to interpret what data we have and how to appreciate or use those data and how we can bring them into a visualization where everyone can understand, okay, what I'm trying to, explain through the data, what I have in my hand. So there are a lot of, multimedia packages and the softwares that are available today to do our visualization of the data. And not only that, and it is very much useful for the decision making as well as the communication and learning. The third one is the information literacy, okay, the ability to evaluate information across a range of media. Okay, so we are talking about information, we are talking about the communication media, and we are going to talk about the technology which supports, all these things. It's a converge of, three different the platform. The ability to evaluate information across the range of media, recognize when information is needed, locate them, synthesize them, and use information effectively, and accomplish these functions using technology applications, communication network, and electronic resources. So if you see the 21st century learning competency, each and every teacher and the educator to understand, the number one, what I said was technology literacy. The second one is the visual literacy. And the third one is the information literacy. Because all these three things is going to drive me into my classroom and to make me an effective, and my education or the delivery is going to be the quality one. And if you see the teacher-centered philosophy, for many years teachers taught and the students were responsible, to study the material, whatever, or for the learning the material, whatever given by the teacher. So it was the student's responsibility to acquire the knowledge for the success. The primary concern of the teacher was to impart the knowledge. Okay, so but we see here there is a paradigm shift has happened in today's context. So what is that? So teacher-centered learning, because of ICT, we are able to make it as a learner-centered learning. So that is the paradigm shift what is happening now. So the teacher-centered learning has moved to the learner-centered learning, okay? And not only that, with respect to the curriculum, if you see, our curriculums are, meant for the content-centered, okay? So we define a set of topics and we have a content-centered, the curriculum. But now if you see that when the ICT, coming into the usage, we are looking for the next level of competence-based. So that's why today, even, the education department, or if you say that, they use the Bloom's taxonomy, and next slide, I'm going to explain about it, the outcome-based education. So where we need to understand, yeah, curriculum is there, very good, but what are the learning outcomes? How you are going to map your curriculum with your learning outcomes? Because that becomes a mandatory process in today's scenario. So we have the paradigm shift from teacher-centered learning to a learner-centered learning. So today we are talking about the content-centered learning to a competence-based learning. So if you see the new version of a Bloom's taxonomy, it talks about the 6 levels, okay? So the first one, the remembering, understanding, applying. So these are the 3 levels we were, in our classroom setup or in our examination pattern. we were able to satisfy these three levels. Okay, recall fact and basic concepts. So this is one, where the student memorize and come to your examination, or memorize and come to your class, or you can have a flipped classroom and he or she reads and come and to the class. So it's a kind of a recalling the facts and the basic concepts what you have taught inside the classroom. It's just a memorization where the inferencing process is not much appreciated there. The second level, if you see, the level is understanding. So here they explain the ideas or the concepts. Okay, so here also this three level, as I said, remembering, understanding, and applying. Okay, so they use information in new situations to answer the question or solve problem. Okay, so these are the three levels we were able to understand. I think somebody has raised hand.
Pandian sir,
Yes.
no issues. You can just continue with your session.
Okay.
Towards the last, we will unmute them.
Right, thank you. So now we are looking for the next level, level 4, level 5, and level 6, where we have to analyzing and evaluating and creating. So here if you say, the take apart information to, so they show the relationship, causes, and the connectivity. So whatever they have studied, now we have to do the analysis part. So we have to do some kind of a small projects or outcome-based, activity assessment kind of thing we need to do. That's next level. If you see that, justify a stand or a position. Now, why you are saying that? What is your take on? Okay, so this is my outcome, and they have to justify that. They're evaluating the process, what they have given as an outcome. And the last one is going to be to produce something new. So they have to create something new. It could be a project, or it could be some kind of software. If you say they might be writing some algorithms or some programs. So it's like the new version of Bloom taxonomy is taxonomy. It's talking about the 6 different levels where you come, your learning outcomes has to support this one. So the higher education or the school education, if you see that one, so we are following this particular Bloom's taxonomy to understand the level of the students where they stand. So that's why when we define a curriculum or when we design a curriculum, so we need to understand the learning outcomes of each and every topic and the related assessment, the outcome based. That is why it is called outcome based education. So previously it was a student centric, and now it is going to be the learner centric, where the learner center, it comes under the assessment part, where you have to define what is the outcome and what is the assessment, how you're going to analyze your student, and how you're going to justify, my student is able to, or got the point what I taught in my class. So this is why, not only the question paper pattern, if you see that one, not only the memorization type of question. So we need to think about, the question pattern also in the form of analyzing as well as the evaluating process. Okay, so this is all about the new version of Bloom's taxonomy. So we can talk, 1 hour session on this particular topic. It's a wide area. Okay, so the next one, the information communication technology, you can see it is divided into 2 broad categories. Okay, so one is called the ICT or for education. The other one is ICT in education. Okay, so it refers to the development. ICT for education refers to the development of information and communication technology, specifically for teaching and learning process purposes. But in education, if you see that how this adoption involves the adoption of the general components of information and communication technologies in the teaching learning process. What are the components we have? How we are going to enable this process in my teaching and learning process? Okay, so the next slide talks about the ICT skills and competencies. The educators should acquire. There are certain things they need to acquire before the usage of the ICT. So ICT operations and the concepts. The teachers demonstrate a sound understanding of ICT operations and concepts. So this is very, very important. Now, how can I use? What are the technology? As I told you in the beginning, the technological literacy. Now, what is the knowledge about the technology? Where can I use? How these technologies are going to support me in my classroom? So ICT operations and the concepts. The teacher should demonstrate a sound understanding of ICT operations and concepts. Okay, where we are going to use, how we are going to implement, what we are going to incorporate into my classroom setup. Then planning and designing learning. So here comes the environment and the experiences. The teachers plan and design effective learning environments supported by ICT. Okay, so today we talk about blended learning. So during this pandemic circumstances, most of the schools and the colleges, they directly giving what you can say the online classes. Okay, so the planning and designing learning environment and experiences. Teachers plan and design effective learning environment supported by ICT. So they need to plan and design an effective learning environment. Say, for example, after going home, okay, so you have taught in your class, so you need to continue with your discussion. So there is a possibility to have a discussion forum. Okay, there is a possibility to have a chat application. Okay, so I'm going to give you a practical walkthrough through the LMS, so you will understand how you can incorporate all these ideas. The third one, you talk about the teaching, learning, and the curriculum. So teachers implement curriculum plans that include methods and strategies for applying ICT. So this is the third one the educator should acquire. So the teachers, implement curriculum plan that include methods and strategies for applying ICT. Now, what are the methods I'm going to use, and what are the strategies for applying the ICT? As I told you, the lesson outcomes you are going to plan. Okay, that becomes a mandatory part now. So it is not stopped in the curriculum design itself. Now each and every topic I need to understand what is the learning outcomes of each and individual topic, and how I'm going to achieve these, learning outcomes. So teaching, learning, and the curriculum. So the teacher has to implement the curriculum plan that include methods and the strategies for applying ICT. The fourth one is the assessment and the evaluation. This is a very important process for the today's scenario. The teachers apply ICT to facilitate a variety of effective assessment. It could be a discussion forum, as I told you, or it could be an assignment, or it could be a quiz. Okay, so or some kind of a project or a group project. Okay, so this is how we are going to assess and evaluating the performance of the student. So this is very much necessary in today's context. That is why we call them as a outcome-based education. So assessment and evaluation. And the fifth one, we are talking about the productivity and the professional practice. So teachers use ICT to enhance their productivity and the professional practices. When you go with this particular kind of the technological enablement process, it brings you the productivity into your professional practices. Okay, so where you are highly competent to give your thought process, because the today's generation they are very much tech savvy. Okay, so the productivity and the professional practice, when you and we use the ICT into our classroom, that brings out the productivity. Okay, so it's some of the process we are able to make it automatic or automation. Okay, we need not to spend a lot of time. So when we set up something, we are able to assess automatically through some of these systems what are available in the market. So this brings up productivity and the professional practice. And the sixth one, and it's a very important one, the social, ethical, legal, and human issues. Teachers understand the social, ethical, legal, and human issues surrounding the users of ICT. Okay, there are challenges when we when we allow or when we open the door to the internet, and when there are a lot of stuffs are available. So how the social, ethical, and the legal and the human issues, how we are going to control it. So that is again the educator should acquire. So these are the ICT, the skills and competencies are very much needed in today's context. Okay. And the next one, if you see that, it's a very important thing in the school education as well as in the higher education, the gamification. Now, what is this gamification in education? the day has gone where we go with the PowerPoint, or where we go with the, some kind of a presentation tools and all this stuff. So today the students are very much into the, the gaming process. Okay, so now the education is also picking up, so along with the gamification in education. Now, what do you mean by that? Gamification in learning can be referred to as a method used to motivate students to learn with the help of video games and game component in the learning environment. It is nothing but, when we talk about a video game, it is not exactly the game. It is like, the participant, the co-participant, the teacher as well as the student, they can join together and they can design the class. Say for example, today we can say like, the badges or the credit point, not exactly the credit point. We can say that, these many badges, if you have acquired, so you will get this many points, some kind of, the adding up some, the cumulative activities for their, the learning pattern. So students are getting attracted to the game-based learning approaches as it provides gaming feature and helps in making education more enjoyable and more efficient. This is very much, a need of an hour, we can put it in that way. So I've found one link which is very much, useful. You can also, I have given it the link, how to gamify your classroom. There are 10 specific ideas to get it done. So I have given the link, you can take it, so you can refer later. And there is a course also available in udemy.com, the gamification in teaching and learning. So now, due to the COVID-19 situation, so most of the online trainers or online the platform, they provide a very discount value for the certifications. Okay, so this one particular course I have gone through today morning. So 6,400 rupees course, now they are giving it for only 360 rupees. Okay, so I think it's a wonderful platform where we can get have plug and play of the concept of gamification in teaching and learning. So today this generation, they are very much into some of the activities where they have to see some live experience along with our along with their teaching and learning process. Okay, and the next one, if you say the verified market research had given one study report. Okay, so according to verified market research, global gamification in education market was valued at 444 million US dollars in 2018, and it is projected to reach 3,959.4 million by 2026, growing at the compound annual growth rate of 31.29% from 2019 to 2026. So the entire industry, if you see that one, education, as well as, there are so many, the EduTech kind of, supporting platform, which are allowing the students to, come up with this particular kind of a gamification in education. So for example, if you take Allen material or a Byju's material, the entire concept, the science and the mathematics, you name it, whatever subject, they are able to put it in a very simple way. Like, UX design, platforms are available today where the conversation and the teaching, they made it very simplified way of, delivery point to the stakeholder, or the students. Okay, so this is the one. So the huge, reach is going to be there for the gamification in education with respect to the ICT I'm talking about. Okay, now the contemporary ICT resources, if you see, there are certain platforms or the applications or the softwares are available for classroom response system. So like WooClap and Clickers, there are so many. Okay, so I have named a few here. And we have, the learning management system like Moodle, Canvas, and Blackboard. And there are many in that particular category also. And if you come to the virtual classroom, okay, so we have a VisIQ and a Big Blue button and the Zoom meeting, what we are using currently. Okay, so these are all the enablers to do the virtual classroom in the today's ICT enabled technology. And the last one, you have the proofreaders and plagiarism checkers. Okay, so how I'm going to prove that one? it is not copied by somebody, copied from someone else. So there are certain, plagiarism checkers and proofreaders, are available. These are all the, the limited, I put it in a, 4 points. Okay, so these are all the contemporary ICT resources I can bring into my classroom setup. Okay, so this is like, a very short presentation. I mean the PPT presentation. And now I'm going to show you all these things can be incorporated into our learning management system. I'm not sure how many of your, your schools you are using the learning management system, like a Moodle or something like that. Okay, so it's a wonderful platform, and it is a very useful platform, and it is very user friendly, and you can customize your environment based on your needs. Okay, so that is what I'm going to, rest of the time, I'm going to give you a walkthrough on this particular tool. Okay, so you can understand how we are going to use this. Okay, let me take you to our college website. Okay, so you can see here, this is the LMS, the Learning Management System. So before going there, let me identify how many of you are using the LMS in your school. You can give your reply in the chat box if you are using Moodle in your school. Okay, so I see only one response. Okay, so let me take you through, walk through through this particular application. This is nothing but we call learning management system. It's supported using the Moodle is the open platform. It's an open source. Okay, it's an open source. Uh, you can download, it's a free software, open source software. We can download from moodle.org, and we can install it in our local setup. Okay, we can use it in our local setup. I mean, you can have it as a local server, okay, local host to server. As well, you can put it in a server, hosting server, and you can run it in our using internet. So this is one of the one of the very what you can say user-friendly platform for where you can take all the course plan, your lesson outcomes, and each and every assessment and the assignment for the children. So everything can be monitored here in this one particular platform. Okay, let me show you how you can go through. Say for example, here in our college we are so we use this particular pattern of School of Management, School of Law, Faculty of Science, and Faculty of Humanities, and Faculty of Commerce and Management. Okay, let me take Faculty of Sciences, and you can see here there are again we have categorized into certain things: the discipline core courses, extension credit courses, value added courses. You can define the course category, how you are when you prepare the course plan. So we the same course plan can be incorporated into this particular learning management system. This is one of the very flexible ICT which we are incorporated into our teaching learning process. Okay, so when we click this discipline core courses, we have several courses running within this particular particular category. So you can also create one of these courses. It's a very simple process. We have to go to the manage this category. I'll show you one sample course how you can create. and I will, so then I can get into the QA session. Okay, say for example, I'm going to add one more create new course, right? So course full name, say for example, Moodle course, I'll say Moodle course. Okay, so start name I say MC, and ID is going to be MC101, okay, 101. And we have the course format. So this is one, either you can run your course in a weekly format, or you can run your course in a topic format, or you can run your course in a social format, or you can run your single activity format. Say for example, only one activity you are having in your course. Say for example, I'm going to take it as the weekly format or topic format. So let us take a weekly format. Okay, so then we have number of sections. We will have the 5 weeks. Say for example, otherwise so in a school setup you can say that say 16 weeks or something like that. You can define however you want. So here then appearances you can see, and the file upload, and nothing else to be done here. Okay, so once you're done, so the course will be created. So once you go back to your home, and you can see here the page in you have your discipline core course. Moodle course is one of the course has been added. Okay, so it's very simple to add a course. So each and every subject teacher can create a course in under that particular category. So for example, under this Moodle course, so what I can do, so we can see here, so the entire week from today onwards, it started. Okay, so because I created. So you can define the date also when your course is going to start and when it is going to end. So like that also you can do. And you can define the dates also when you create the course. So now the next one is I must add a teacher to this particular course. So when I go to the users and I use enroll user, I can add the teacher to the particular course. Okay, so if I go here, then I can see teacher. Say for example, I want to give my name as a teacher for this course. Okay, then I select this one and I can enroll me as the teacher for this particular course. Okay, so now you have created a course and you have added the particular. So, sir, how many students can join? You can, it depends on each and every class strength. As a Moodle, it's a the database, you can run it for any number. So currently, you can see we are running it for. I will show you. Currently, we are running it for users browse. I think 3,000 plus now 3,944 users are currently in our LMS. Okay, sir. So you can use any number. So you can grow. So depending upon the capacity of the server, so where you are going to host it. So based on the database size, you can increase the number. Okay, and so come back to the point which I'm talking about. So here we have the course we have created, and we have added the faculty member or the teacher for that particular course. Okay, so now you can see the user and enrolled user. So when you go to the enrolled user, the users are enrolled. Okay, so this is a very simple process. Okay, very simple process. And if you want to add your students, okay, one side is you're creating the course, you're created and enrolled the teacher. So the next one is you have to enroll your students. Okay, so you have to enroll your students. So how you're going to enroll your students? Okay, how you're going to enroll your students? So when you come back here, user, so there is system admin as a site administrator. Okay, and you can go to the users and you can see add user, add a new user. This is one by one you have to add. So instead of going with one by one, you have an upload user option. You can have any number of students. Okay, this upload user option is a very flexible one. Say for example, I want to upload the entire section of what you can say 8th standard A, B, C, D, E. Okay, so I can create one Excel file. Okay, so the Excel file should be in the format of, let me show you. the Excel file should be in the format of, say, the first one is going to be the first name. Okay, the next one is going to be the last name. Okay, then you can say the username. Okay, so then you can say the password you can provide for the students. Then you can have an email ID. So only these many details you need to capture when you are creating your the Excel sheet. And this file, say for example, first name I have something, and the last name I have something, and the username, say for example, I have say Ugar, okay, say Ugar, and the password I say for example, sample underscore 123 hash, okay, and I say the next one I say SEVUDAN at trustedjnp.com, okay. So this is the email ID. So only this much is required. So like this, you can add any number of students, according to the section wise, or if you want to say, grade wise, you want to add your students into grade in the sense like, 7th grade, 8th grade. So the entire sections, you are going to put it into one Excel sheet, or, then you can do it like this. So the pattern is first name, last name, username, password, and email. So once you save this file, you have to save this file as the CSV. So CSV in the sense we call it as a comma separated file. You can see here. So Excel file you have to save as a CSV file. That is what we call the comma delimited or comma separated file. So when we save this file, you can save it like, say for example, I'll say a sample. Okay, sample I give. Okay, so now we save this one. Okay. So now the file is saved. Okay, so now we will keep this one and we come back here. So choose the file. So we can choose the entire list of files here, and you can add or upload the students. Okay, I put over here sample. Okay, sample.csv. So then upload this file. It's very simple. You need not to do one by one. You can take a group of students and you create a CSV file and you can say upload. So once you say upload, so the students get uploaded. You see here, so automatically it gets uploaded over in the preview. So you can see all this stuff. So once the student is added, so what you can do, you can come back to your course. Okay, once you say for example 60 students you have added into that particular course. So now what we are going to do, so you are coming back to the course, and you can go back to the particular course which you have created, and go to the user, and you can say enroll user. So now you can enroll. See, if you want to enroll a student one by one, you can do it like this. If you want to do enrollment in a bulk, there is another option called bulk enrollment. Say for example, at a time I want to make, say for example, I have 5 sections, each section 50 students. So 300 students, I want to enroll for a particular subject. So if I want to do that, how I can do? So individually, if I go and do the enrollment, it's a time killing process. So instead of that, I can go back to the bulk enrollment. Okay. So in bulk enrollment, again, you have to create a Excel sheet. Okay. So the same Excel sheet, what you have to do, just you can take the email ID. Okay. Just you can take the email ID. All the email ID of the students you can take. So only that column you can take and you can save it. So for enrollment file, so only the pre-request field is email field. So once you get the email field, say for example, I have 300 students, all 300 emails I can collect over here. And the condition here is, again, this file has to be saved as the what? CSV file. Very good. So it has to be saved as a CSV file, comma delimiter file. Okay. And the name of the file is going to be sample. I'll say bulk. Okay. so sample bulk, because I'm going to do the enrollment in bulk, right? So once I say I can come back to my application, so I can choose the file and I can say, okay, so now I can say sample, so bulk CSV and open, then upload this file. So very user friendly. And the only thing is here you have to select the email address. Okay, so the email address has to be selected over here. So the first column contain email address. Okay, so that is the first column we have copied into the CSV file. Once you say enroll them to my course, you can see, so one student or the admin user is already enrolled for this course because my email ID has been given for the admin. So the admin as user has been enrolled for the course. So now if you go back and if you see, okay, so the user level, okay, the enrolled user, so one will be the teacher, the other one will be the student. Okay, so here I added as a student. You can see here that one. So like this, you can add any number of teacher into one particular subject. I mean, say for example, 5 teachers are going for 5 sections. So you can create a 5 teacher. 5 teacher can be enrolled for this particular course or subject. Then the rest of the things will be students. Okay. So this is like, how you are uploading the students into the LMS and how you are going to enroll the teacher into the LMS and how you are enrolling the students into your class. Okay, so once that is done, so what we have to do, so you have to come back to your course. Okay, you can come back to your course. Through here navigation also you can come back. Okay, so you need not go back every time to the home. So here, suppose for example, I want to add some content. Okay, my class content I want to add. Say for example, so if you want to modify anything over here, you have to click this particular button, right? So once you click this one, so there are so many activities you can add. I'll show you. See here, you can add assignment activity, you can add attendance activity, you can have a certificate, chat application, choices, custom certificate, databases, external tools, forum, glossary, lesson, quiz, you name it. All these things can be added into your course activity. Okay. Say for example, I have taken a subject. Okay. So I want to add some, I want to add some PPT into my course. So I want to add some content into my course. So that everything can be done. Okay, so the very simple way I can do, say for example, after you come over here, after clicking the turn editing on, so you can go back to your, the folder. Okay, you can go back to your folder and you can see here, say for example, some of the documents, if anything is there, let me see. Okay. Here I don't have any thing. So anyway, say for example, I want to add this, Excel sheet into my, course page. So just I can drag and drop. Okay. So drag and drop, it goes inside. So I can put it over here. Okay. I think it's gone to the next week. So like this is a very simple process. Just open the Explorer and you can do the drag and drop. Okay. So it gets inside, into your folder. Let me show you. Open the folder and you can take this file, whatever you want to drag and drop into your course page, just do it. Okay. So that particular file will come into your course page. So this is one way how you can add your course content, okay, into your, this is what we call the course template page. So week 1, so these are all the course, activity, the content, what I'm going to deliver, that I'm going to put it over here in this particular place. Okay. So then, say for example, I want to check, how they are learning. Okay. Or say for example, after you are adding your, the content, and you want to give some exercise to your student, and you can also participate along with them. Say for example, I want to add a discussion forum. Okay. So we want to discuss about this particular topic. So you can say forum. Say for example, sample topic. So the topic which you have discussed on that particular day, then you can say that. And the forum type, you can select, okay, it could be a single person post, one discussion, or it could be a QA forum, or it could be a standard forum, or it could be a general use. Say, for example, it is a QA forum, and you can add the rest of the things, so what is the size of your maximum, file size, or the conversation, how much it can go, or you want to grade this discussion, all those stuff. And these other things are not a mandatory one, just to save and return. So you have taken a class on a particular day, and you are saying, evening we will have a discussion on that particular topic. This brings the group activity. Okay, so this is what the new version of Bloom taxonomy is talking about. It is not only the remembering and understanding and analyzing the part. So you need to involve them and to be make them a creative. Let them be creative in their process. Okay, so that is what is happening over here. So this is the the forum. After if you come back, you will identify. So when student comes and clicks here, say for example, I will move to the student mode. Okay, say for example, I am switching my role to student. How the student is going to look in a course page. This is the student page, you can see here. So now the admin user has become a student. So this is the student page. So when student comes inside, so he or she will go through the content, what you have uploaded, then they will get into a sample topic. Okay, so this is a question and answer forum. In order to see other response, you must first post your question. So the teacher didn't do the posting. Okay, so what I supposed to do, I will go back and I will switch over to the normal role. Then I will come back to my sample topic, that is my forum title. I will add a new question. Okay, so subject, I say that what is the subject of the thing. So we say that sample topic. So the same topic we can give. And question, you can say what is the what do you think about this today's class? Okay, so what do you think about the today's class, or what you have learned, and what other things can be done. So once you have done this one, so if you have any attachment file to be added for that discussion, okay, you can do that one. So just click the file and you can go and upload the file, and you can see that one, this is coming over here, and post to the forum. So once you give this one question to the forum, your post was successfully added. You can see that one, you can have a time period to edit this one, right? So now the discussion forum has been added. So the student comes back, and look into this particular course page, and he or she will see this one. Okay, so let me go back to my course page. Then student is coming over to the course page and give the sample topic, and you can see there is a question, so they have to click the sample topic. So once they click the sample topic, there is a question. So this was the question which I have raised. So now they can reply, they can do, so they reply back to the discussion, whatever I have done. So this is one way we can keep track after they go back, after the school, hours. So we can enhance, or we can engage them. Maybe, say for example, we will have a 15 minutes discussion forum on this, or you can assign the work and students can do the discussion, and you can monitor here through your log file. Okay, so through your log file, if you come back to your discipline course, okay, so if you come back to your courses, you can see that one, you can monitor the entire the process of I'm in the student mode. Okay, so as a teacher, when you come back, the courses, you can see how the things are happening. So I can go through the log, I can go through the, while they are doing the discussion forum, you can check how the live log, how many students are participating, what are quite, and you can see the log also, okay, or a particular student, how many, what kind of conversations are happening. So everything can be monitored in this particular environment. Okay, so this is one. The next one, say for example, I'm going to enable them to do something called, the chat application. So that is also possible, where I can give, chat application and the activity, okay. So again, for this, I can say, okay, add the chat. Okay, so then we can say the name of the chat room. You can say, today's discussion. Okay, so today's discussion. Okay, so then if you want to give any topic, then you can give chat session. This is a very interesting one. You can define. Okay, so say for example, today, 13th May, 13th May, Okay, so from say for example 5 to 5:50, we are going to start the chat application and we are going to have a chat. So don't publish any chat times. Okay, so that there are some restrictions we can have, and everyone can view the past session. That is not required. Okay, so the current chat application or chat session, if they view, that is more than enough. So once you click that one, so exactly, when student comes back, you can see that one, the chat, the discussion can start. So when you come back, say for example, I switch over to my student login, and if I come down, so when I click the today's discussion, click here to enter the chat now. Okay, so the chat application is loading. Okay, and you can see that one. So I have logged in, so that's why. So none of the, so you can see here, just enter the chat. So 15, the time just now I have, and when the admin user opens it, then the student can come and join. It's like, you are in the waiting room, and how this, the participants are added into the room. So they're the same way. So you can have your, the discussion forum and the, today's discussion. Say for example, at the end of the week, okay, so you want to see that whether my students are able to follow whatever I taught in my class. Okay, so to understand that, you can come back and you can see here, you can enable the next activity called quiz activity. Okay, so this is like an assessment process. So either you can go with the assignment or you can go with the quiz. So you can define any of these activities in your LMS, so the student can make use of that one. Then another one I want to add it here. Say for example, I have some video lectures which I have recorded. So I want to add that video, into my the YouTube video or whatever the videos which are platform I have created, I want to add. So by using the you're adding the video, you can go to this resource folder called URL. Then you can say add. So here it will say, what is the topic, video on sorry, video on sample topic. Okay, you can say video on sample topic. So then you can come down and you can say the URL. You can go and find, URL okay, so you can say, for example, I can add some more pages into it. Okay, say, oops, concepts in Java. So let me go with videos. I can select some videos. I can copy this link. I can go back. I can add this URL here, and appearance, you can say, let it be automatic or pop-up. Okay, then you can say return. Okay, so once you say return, and you can see the entered URL is invalid. Okay. Take it something else from YouTube. So I take this link. Okay, I take this link, I copy this link, and I'll go and say save and return to the post. So once I complete this one, you can see in my page, video is also attached. So when student comes back, these are the material you have added for your week activity. So student, when he comes or when she comes, let me switch over to the student, and I see, oh yeah, my teacher had uploaded all this content, and I will go and see video on sample topic. So it is coming in the pop-up. Video can be watched over here. The concept, whatever the link which I provided, the student can learn side by side. Okay. And another advantage here is while they are, while they are learning here, okay, so then you can come here, they can go for the theoretical stuff and they can learn that also. Okay, so this is the way where you can add the content into your LMS. So the basic thing, if you see that one, we are able to understand the learning outcome, and we are able to do the assessment for each and every material or the course what you have created of for the particular curriculum. Okay, so so we are planning to have some more session on this. Okay, we will inform you. So if you have any questions, you can ask right now.
Professor Manvi, you can ask your question. You are unmuted.
Okay, sure. Sir, I had two questions.
Yes.
One was that what is the most popular and user-friendly LMS that most of the schools are using in India? And the second question was that does this kind of LMS also allow teachers to go online and do the classes?
Yes, yes. So actually this LMS, we cannot go online classes. Okay, so let me answer the second question. You have to incorporate, you have to integrate actually the Zoom link into our LMS. We can do that. Okay, if you have a Zoom account, a business account, okay, so the pro account we are not allowing. For the business account, there is an application called LTI Pro. If you go to the manager, can I show you how to do that one?
Sure.
Say, for example, if I go to Zoom, sign in. Okay, so before we're going to sign in, there is an app marketplace, madam. Okay, so there is an app marketplace. So if you click this one, you have okay, so this is the marketplace website. Okay, so you can see LTI Pro for Zoom. Okay, so this you have to download and you have to install in your account. So for using this, you have to have a business account. So once you have this, if you create a LTI Pro in your account, then you can come back, and there is a system administrator option. There is a plugin called, I'll show you, activity model. In activity model, we have a LTI. Okay. So this is the learning tools integration. Okay. Learning tool integration. So where you can go here and whatever the details you have, collected from there. So this is one which I have created for our, Zoom class. So through this, I can, get into the details. I'll show you what are the details I have filled in. Okay, so it's like, you have to get the URL from Zoom and they will give you the consumer key and they will give you the secret key. Once you have all these things, then you save changes automatically from your Moodle. You can go online and you can take Zoom class. And to answer your first question, most of the schools, they are using Moodle because it's an open source platform and it is very easy for customization. So however I want, I can customize. Okay, so the entire package, it takes hardly, it's a very less space, space it occupies in the server. And it is a PHP program and it is a very, customized version and we can use it in a very user-friendly way. So that's why most of the schools are going, they're using Moodle as the LMS. I hope I answered your question, madam. Hello? Hello? Hello?
Hello, so we can hear you. We can
Yeah.
hear you.
Yeah.
I think.
Hello, good afternoon, sir. This is Sendil Kumar from Chennai.
Yes, sir.
Sir, we have advised our teachers to use Google Classrooms mostly.
Okay.
Most of them are not techno savvy. In what way this learning management system will help them if they are going to adopt a separate, or for our school situations where a lot of technical support is not there, will that suffice? In short, Google Classroom, does it have all these features? When it or learning management system is compulsory for all the schools?
Google Classroom, there are certain restrictions are there, sir. Actually, when we talk about the quiz running and assignment, and there is no time duration. Say, for example, I open the quiz on this particular time, and it has to be closed on this particular time. There are little, technical features are there in the Google Classroom. But when you come with this kind of, Moodle LMS, learning management system, it becomes your own property. It's like in your own administration, you can control the entire setup. So that is the advantage what this Moodle LMS gives to our institution. Okay, so we can have our own hosting, and schools, like, if you want to use it within the school setup, it's a very simple, the number of students, say for example 500 or 600, very minimal hosting plan we can go, and you can load your LMS and you can make use of this.
Thank you, sir. Very, very informative lecture. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Sir, good afternoon. My name is Dr. Padmana, Principal of Ramana Vidyaniketan.
Yes, sir.
The session is very nice, but since most of the schools are not aware of this LMS,
Yes, sir.
like especially the rural areas and all, are there any such LMS systems which works offline? Like, for example, like you spoke about Moodle and all. Is there anything like that which can be stored on the server mode and then it
Yes,
can be
sir.
accessed
Even
without
Moodle,
any internet connection?
yeah. Even Moodle also has the offline package. Yes, just you have
Okay.
to go to the moodle.org and you can
Okay.
download the current version in a very simple, only 2 clicks. One is start Moodle, stop Moodle. So the entire
Okay.
process, whatever I showed you, you can run it
Yeah.
in a local machine. One computer you can do, and you can connect your all the computers in the LAN, maybe the staff room, okay, and the
So
lab.
both
also.
are paid, sir. Both are paid, right, sir?
It is free, totally free. It's an open source software, sir.
So I think we have to download Moodle.
So go to moodle.org and you can download it.
Okay, fine.
Yes.
And it is an offline mode, so you can store the content. But I think it takes time for the teachers to learn if they are not little techno savvy. Is it very friendly?
It is very much user friendly, sir. It is very much user friendly.
Because when you are scrolling through and showing, we are thinking that maybe I think you have used a number of times, so therefore you are very comfortable enough in using it. Is that
Okay.
possible for the others? Can we
Yes,
put
sir.
any other languages other than English? Like we have Kannada and Hindi.
Yes. There is a possibility. There is a possibility.
To take up other languages also.
Yes. When you say there is a forced language is one category. When you go to the course creation, that time you say don't force English language. So any language can be accommodated there.
Fine. Okay, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Pandian sir, one question from the chat room. Professor Sunanda Pathak from St. Aloysius,
Okay.
MP, she has asked that LMS is available in mobile app also.
Yes, it is in mobile app also. So just one, enhancement we have to do in the site administration. Okay, so the enablement in development, I believe there is a mobile option. We can enable the existing, whatever you have, your LMS, you can convert into a mobile app. Even they can open it, open in their mobile phone. Okay, so even whatever the mobile app, what you have, the application, whatever you have designed in your server host, the same application can be given it as a mobile app. That is possible.
One more question in the chat room. Ms. Ruchika Sharma, she has asked that LMS is useful in higher classes. What
Okay.
about primary classes at school level as they need parental help at home during the lockdown period?
That's true. So here, the primary classes, ultimately, whichever the technology you introduce, so they, very much the parental support is very much required. Okay, so here also the same thing. So we may, we can, or a school can plan for a basic training or something like that. So then the parents also able to understand, okay, so this is the way they can use it. Hello?
Loganathan, sir.
Hello?
Madam. It was very nice session, madam.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Do you have any questions, sir?
No, sir. Whether it can be utilized for an individual teacher.
Yes, yes, very well.
No,
Very well.
sir. For last 4 or 5 years, I am taking classes through WhatsApp and other things.
Okay.
Whether this can be a version which we can use to contact more than 50 to 60 students.
Yes, sir, you can do. You can do. There is one application is available right now in cloud. Okay. As an individual teacher, you can use mobile cloud. Okay. I'll show you. You can go to mobile cloud and you can use it. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Mobile cloud. Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I mean, sorry, Moodle cloud. Sorry, not mobile cloud. Moodle cloud.
Moodle.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any other questions?
One more question from Father Joy, please.
Good evening. I'm audible, sir. Very good evening, sir.
Very good evening,
So,
sir.
yeah. So this is a very basic question I'm asking.
Yes,
So
sir.
during the whole presentation, it's very good. My only concern is that when there is a lot of apps available, whether it is Google Classroom or Google Apps, or even Microsoft has come out with so many user-friendly software for this during this COVID period. So what is the feasibility of this thing here now at this stage? Because the way you are explaining it was fine, but as a layman or as a parent, if I'm able, I think it's very tough for me to understand this at this stage. So many applications, so many things are available. So is there some training or something like that also available? So, and how it is different from the platforms being used by Google Classroom or your Team app by Microsoft? So they all claim to be different.
Yes. Microsoft Teams is
Myself,
totally.
Mr. Amit, so I'm from Punjab.
Okay.
Okay, so we are here using technology at a very user-friendly pace. We are using, I have used till now Google Classroom, I have used Team app. So I just want to how it is different from those and how I can convince my management to be different. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Sir, this one the answer to your question is, this is a very, closed structure. Your institution only can access this one. If you go to the Google Classroom, okay, it's an open platform, it's in the cloud. Okay, it's in the Google Cloud. Okay, there also the security is there, but the data can be, there is a possibility of sharing of the data in the backend. So now here it is a very much a closed structure. Okay, so in your environment only you are going to create your application and you are going to provide an authentication for a particular people. Only the teachers as well as your management or the admin is going to use this one. Okay, so no outsiders can come and access you, and even you can give a restriction through the email ID. Only the user will be allowed who is coming with this particular email ID. So at your school name. So that is also possible, sir. So it's a very secured environment where you can provide the very user friendly access. That is what I'm trying to explain to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Is there any other questions? Shall we close the session then right now?
Aruna ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, you can.
We can.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you, Pandian sir, for listing, the contemporary ICT resources like classroom response system, learning management system, virtual classroom, and proofreaders and plagiarism checkers. It was very, nice to start from there and slowly moving into the demonstration of, the complete LMS. Action speaks more than words that we could relate today. The way you have explained and showed the options what are all there in the LMS, it's really, very understandable. Thank you so much, sir. You have taken us a walkthrough in the Moodle in an excellent manner. On behalf of the organizing team, we heartily thank you for giving a detailed demonstration of LMS. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, madam. Thank you so much.
I also extend my sincere thanks to all the delegates present in the session. Books and registers become bytes and files. Classroom is becoming LMS. Exam booklets and notebooks are becoming computer and mobile applications. But teachers, we remain the same. We are still unique. Tomorrow, we are having a panel discussion in the afternoon on the topic strategies to manage the impact of COVID-19 in educational domain. If any of you are interested to be the panel member, please kindly contact Professor Mary Jacob. I think you may be having ma'am's number. We'll put it in chat box also. Kindly please contact if you want to become a panel member and to share the views on strategies to manage the impact of COVID-19 in educational domain. And tomorrow our morning session, Redefining Excellence for Slow Learners, will begin by 9:30 a.m. So let us meet tomorrow. Stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you all participants. Thank you so much.